Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Sean and this is your go-to spot for quick, bite-sized Unity tutorials. In today's video we're going to set up a simple 2D character movement system using the A and D keys for the left and right movement and the spacebar for jumping. Here's a quick breakdown of what we'll cover. We'll set up the scene with a 2D character and ground. Then we'll add a Rigidbody2D and a Collider2D to handle physics. We'll write the movement script to handle left, right and jump actions. Finally, we'll test and adjust the movement. Now, first of all, we need to set up the scene. We'll create a new 2D project in Unity. I think I'm gonna go for the universal 2D right here. And yeah, this version is alright. I'm going to call this project Simple Character Movement 2D. And I'll hit Create Project. Alright, here's our brand new scene, a 2D scene ready for us. So now in the hierarchy, we want to create a square sprite to represent the player and create a simple platform using a rectangle for the ground. So I'm gonna go for 2D object right here, sprite, and then we go down to square, and there you go, that's our player. Let's see how what that looks like in game view right here. Okay, obviously we can see it needs to be centered probably. Yeah, that's it. Okay, it's right there. And I also want my character to be slightly to the left when the game starts, and maybe I want to have it like bright red right there so I can differentiate that from the ground. And so for the ground I'm gonna go like right click right here in the hierarchy, to the object I go on sprite and then square. We have another square, so I'll move it down like that. I'm gonna be making it that a bit bigger. So let's see, in game view, that is what we have. That is awesome. Okay, probably I'm going to rename this thing here ground, and this little square here I'm going to rename that pressing F2 as player. There we go. But obviously if I start the game right now, nothing will happen. So for that, okay, we'll need to add a box collider 2D so they can interact with Unity's physics system. So yeah, ground and player will need to have a box collider 2D. Let's go for the ground first. I go here in the inspector, add component, and box collider 2D is what we need right here. Same thing for the player. So again, box collider 2D. It's already right there. And Control save to save this thing. And we also need to ensure the player has a Rigidbody 2D so gravity can act on the player. So also right here we go and add component, and we go and look for Rigidbody 2D in this case because we're working on a 2D environment. And there you go. If I hit start, it should fall down probably. Let's see what happens. It's compiling, it's falling down, and it stays right there. Now if I hit A and D or any of the buttons on the keyboard, nothing will happen, simply because the game doesn't know what to do yet. So now that the basic setup is done, let's move on to the fun part, coding the movement. Okay, so we need to right click in the project window right here, and we need to create a script. So we go on create script, and we're going to call this player movement, just like that. I am going to drop it on the player, and it's right there. Now that it's dropped there, we can see it here. Obviously there's nothing written in this script, so we need to double click on this player movement script. There you go. Well, nothing is actually right here yet, so we'll need to start by defining the basic variables we'll need for movement. So one of them is move speed, so that is there to tell how fast the player moves, the jump force for how high they will jump, and the Rigidbody 2D reference for applying physics. So in the script, we're going to first of all to create one public float and we'll call it move speed equals 5f, which seems 5f, which seems a reasonable number to start with. Then a public float, and we'll call it jump force equals 10f. There you go. I think those are cool numbers to start with. Then also we'll need to to reference the rigid body, and so we're gonna go private Rigidbody2D. There you go, it's right there, and we'll call it RB. And then another thing down here is going to be a private bool, and we're going to call these is grounded. Now this is grounded bool. It's really useful when you want to add later on in the game the double jump, okay, when the character jumps midair, and so that the game can recognize when the player is actually grounded, and so that thing cannot happen, or when it's midair, and so you can have the double jump. Okay, I don't think we're going to use it right here, but you know, that's a good start to have it in the game already. In the void start, we are going to reference rigid body, so we will write RB equals get component, like that, and we're going to call the Rigidbody2D right there. Okay, and the start is done. Now in the update method, we want to actually explain a bit better, so we remember next time we come back what these void update is doing, especially what we'll write after it. So I'll comment here, handle left and right movement. Obviously the comment there is not going to affect the way the script works. It's just right there as a reference for us to come back to this project later on, weeks after we've already worked on these last time, and we can still remember fairly enough what we did here. And so first thing that we're going to write down here is going to be float move input equals input get axis raw, and we're going to write horizontal. On the next line, we're going to write rigid body, RB velocity equals new vector2 move input times move speed. So we are multiplying the move input, the arrows we are hitting here on the keyboard, by the move speed, which in this case is 5f. We will be able to change that in the editor, but anyway, we have it right here. So by move speed, comma RB dot velocity dot y. So this is basically telling in which axis we want this player to move when we hit the move button. Now our next comment right here is going to say that the next lines of code are managing the jump. So we go with jump when spacebar is pressed. And so obviously that is not going to happen all the time, and so we want to add an if statement right here. So if input dot get key down, so only when the key is down, key code dot space, and only when the player is grounded. So we don't want the player to jump again mid-air, so and is grounded, RB dot velocity equals new vector2 RB dot velocity dot x jump force. And we'll close it like that. Control S to save. I'll move below these actually right here. And here we're going to, I'm commenting again, detect if the player is on the ground. And so I'll write down a void here, so private void on collision enter 2D, because we're working in a 2D environment, and we'll write down if collision dot game object dot compare tag, and obviously the tag that we're talking about is ground, and then we'll write is grounded equals true. And so it's basically saying that then when the game object player is hitting the ground, then the player, the ball, should say that it is grounded, and so it can jump again, otherwise it shouldn't be able to do that. Then I'll keep moving down, and we have right here another on collision enter. Okay, so I'm going to write again private void on collision enter, obviously 2D again. There we have it again, and basically it's right here if collision dot game object dot compare tag again with ground, then is grounded equals false. Obviously there is a bit of a shortcut in this case to have these two things working together, but I am not going to cover this now. Okay, so I am going to save this Control S again. I think I did it already, but anyway, and at this point I'm pretty sure we are ready to test. Okay, so here's what the script does. Move speed controls, where's that? Move speed controls how fast the player moves left and right. Jump force controls how high the player jumps, and the update function listens for input for the A and D keys to move the player, and the spacebar for jumping. On collision enter 2D, the first and the second ones, the first collision enter 2D and the second collision enter 2D, these two methods detect when the player is on the ground and make sure they can only jump when grounded. So let's go into Unity again. There we are, okay, and we saved our script already. Let's hit play to test the movement. Everything should work fine, fingers crossed. Okay, so I'll go right and left. I'll try to jump. Oh, obviously it doesn't jump. Okay, so if we go in console right here, it says tag ground is not defined. So let's fix this very quickly. We'll go to the ground, and as you can see, it is not tagged right up here, so we need to add tag. The list is empty. We'll create ground. Make sure that this tag is spelled exactly as we wrote in the script. Okay, so at this point we hit again ground. We need to hit that, so it is tagged as ground, and so we clear the console, we hit play. Let's see if this is working now, and everything should be fine. So right and left are working fine. I can jump. Oh, that's a nice jump right there. Let's see if I double jump meter. And it doesn't do that, haha, because it only does that when it's grounded. I love these. Woo! Okay, so there you have it. You've just implemented basic 2D character movement in Unity with left, right, and jump controls. There you go. Now, if you found these helpful, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more quick Unity tutorials. If you got any questions or ideas for future videos, drop them in the comments below. Have a good one.